Hello and welcome to another episode of How Are You Holding Up? A mental health podcast by the depressed, for the depressed. I'm Lindsey.
And I'm Chris.
And the first question I want to ask you is, how are you holding up?
I'm so much allergies, but that's okay because mentally I'm also a million miles away. So.
Today we are talking about numbness. That's going to be our topic.
Yay! So Lindsey, how are you holding up?
You know, I'm fine. I'm not like totally incredibly amazing, and I'm not depressed.
That's good.
Which, if any of you were tuning in a couple weeks ago, you know that I was going into a depression, and then we did our experiment, the B12 shot, and it gave me the little boost I needed to not go deeper, and I kind of slipped out of it. Escaped its nasty little clutches.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I don't think I'm fully back, but I'm definitely not in the drudges. I'm not numb.
That's awesome. I am currently in the midst of, just the numbness, honestly. I'm not feeling too great. I'm not feeling too bad. I had a fun night last night, so that was a lift of spirits, and as a result, I'm kind of entering today just like, yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, when they think of depression, and when you see it in media, it's portrayed as like so sad or such an extreme, you know, like you just cry all the time and you just binge ice cream and you know, while some of those things can be true, I think something that's harder to show is the emotional numbness. And I don't know if everybody who has depression has this, but I definitely experienced it. And I think I was reading kind of through some articles before we started this episode about it, and they were saying, one said, emotional numbness cannot be clinically described, which makes it more difficult to diagnose or identify. I think if you tell a professional, hey, I feel emotionally numb, at this point where we are now in our society, people know what you're talking about. But, you know, I think 15 years ago, that would have been not something that would be helpful.
I think you're right on the money. There's a very good chance that if you go to a therapy appointment and you tell them, hey, I'm feeling numb, they may want you to clarify, be like, okay, how numb are you feeling?
Yes.
Do you feel any amount of happiness or sadness? Do you enjoy doing things you used to do and stuff like that? So it's the numbness as it stands. It's more of just an indication of possibly exhaustion sometimes.
Yeah. So when I envision numbness, like what we're talking about here, if you don't have depression or you have depression but you haven't experienced the numb, it's basically where you have really no ups or downs. Things that would normally piss you off don't really affect you. You don't get really sad. You don't get really happy. You don't really care. The food isn't yummy anymore. Shows don't matter. Like, things you know logically should make you happy or used to, they just don't make you feel much of anything. You might lose your, sex drive. You might sleep a lot and still feel like you haven't really slept.
Hey.
Hey. When you go exercise, you don't get that endorphin kick that everybody promises you will. It's a lie. That's what I imagine as the emotional numbness.
I would agree with that. I find myself often, when I'm in the numbness, is usually I'm so stuck in the idea of, okay, time to go and be a human being. That's more of just like where I'm at, where I can't necessarily tell you what kind of human being I'm going to be, but I'm just going to go and human it up. It feels like I'm almost like faking. an alien faking being a human sometimes.
It's like you kind of, and because I feel like what you're saying is, because you almost are so numb, you start disassociating from yourself. So you're like outside looking in at you doing these things like a puppet. Like a human body puppet.
Yeah, human body puppet.
Yay, positivity. I think that's why both you and I have kind of dark senses of humor. Because if you ever experience the numb, it's just ridiculous. Like things, you can see things in a way and you take this emotion out of it, it's just ridiculous. Like things are ridiculous. And so then you kind of develop this bizarro humor that some people probably wouldn't appreciate very much.
No, especially when like if you kind of got yourself surrounded by people who are like, well, aren't you're depressed? You shouldn't be making light of that. And it's like, well sorry, that's literally all we've got.
So just if you're new or not new, as you know, we are not professionals. We're just two people having a conversation, and sometimes we research a little bit. Who knows if the articles we use are 100% accurate, but most of this is going to be our experiences. So with that being said, I think we're going to talk about kind of how we feel numb, how it affects us, how we try to hide it, etc.
Yeah.
So here we go. Buckle up. So when you are going through your numb stage, first of all, how long have you been numb, do you feel like?
It's been at least a year, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's been probably longer, honestly. 'Cause now, let me see. Yeah, I'd say about a year that it's been the most numb. Before that, I was just mostly numb. This is now like completely numb, where I will have my peaks and my valleys of feeling good and feeling bad. But for the most part, I am not affected by hardly anything in terms of like getting super happy or super sad.
Yeah.
And I don't have the extremes like I used to. Now it's just an even keel of, okay, whatever.
Do you remember what it was like before you were numb?
Yeah, a little bit. I get little trace memories of like, oh yeah, I was super happy then, or oh, I was so absolutely devastated. And then I don't really remember what that feels like though.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember being I remember the happiness that I had was so absolutely fleeting that it was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. I got like it's like the LaCroix of feelings, where it's just like somebody yelled the word happy in the other room and I vaguely heard it.
And I sensed it for a brief moment in the winds. I think this is probably we've talked about this a lot, but it's probably so frustrating for people who have never experienced depression, because you see this person that you love and care about, and they have everything in their life going for them, or it's just fine. Like, yeah, everybody has problems. Like, everybody has issues that they deal with. And it doesn't make sense, logical sense, why this person isn't fully engaged in their life, is going through this depression. I mean, I think in general, depression is frustrating, but especially numbness, because there is no like release. I think sometimes when I'm depressed, I'll have really dark thoughts and I get really sad, really like horrifically deeply, like mourning my life, sad, crying. And at least there's some sort of release where I cry. But when you're numb, there's no release. It's just monotony, and it's just going through things you should be feeling something about, and you don't really feel anything. And you'll feel hints, like you said, like there are ups and downs within your numbness, but it's still basically numb. And I feel, and it's like when you're outside from it looking in, how do you help? How do you support it? And I mean,
that's honestly,
they're just trying to get through. You can't fix it. That's the biggest thing that we try to tell people, is like, you cannot fix someone's depression, anxiety. All you can do is support. All you can do is be there and, keep inviting this person to stuff, keep being there.
Yeah.
Having healthy boundaries, because don't take on somebody's numbness.
Don't get codependent.
No codependence for you. So, yeah, how does the numbness start? Like, how do we...
I was going to say, how does the numbness affect you? Like,
how does it affect me?
Because, like, you say that your numbness comes more, like, as a precursor, as opposed to the constant state.
Yeah, I go through cycles, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'm starting to wonder if I have a little bit of the bipolar in me, because I definitely have ups kind of like manic ups where I don't sleep much and I get kind of talk fasty. But anyway, that's another subject. My numbness is, it creeps up on me. So one day it'll just be like, oh, I don't feel like I slept enough. And I kind of feel tired today. And okay, oh, I thought I was going to like really look forward to seeing this person, but you know, it's just kind of okay. And then the next day it's like, oh, I don't feel like I slept enough. This food doesn't taste very good. It doesn't taste like much of anything. Oh, I have to go to work. Next day, I'm exhausted. I slept more than enough. I don't care about anything. I lose motivation for everything. I mean, forget about your routine.
Oh yeah.
It suddenly I'm in a place where I don't have any emotional bandwidth for anything. And just taking a shower, just getting sure that I have a good meal in me. I was talking to Chris about this earlier. I think that's why sometimes I get into bad eating habits, because just like having some spark of something yummy in my mouth that has some kind of flavor, or like comfort food that used to make me feel good, like hot Cheetos, terrible for my stomach. I've hit 30. I get acid reflux. Like eating hot Cheetos reminds me of when I was younger and I was like having a good time and playing video games with my friends and I felt alive. So like trying to conjure with my food magic some sort of emotion. I have a good partner. I told him, because I was starting to go through the numb, and I was like, listen, I just want you to know I don't feel connected to you right now. And it's not that I don't care about you, because I do feel like I care about you, but I'm just not going to be connecting with you at the level that we've been connecting. And bless him, he can take that kind of very strongly worded message and understand that I'm not saying it to hurt him. And I'm not saying it like there's something wrong with this. I'm saying like, hey, warning, there's something wrong with me right now. My whatever is off.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to engage in anything. Like, I mean, even playing video games will just not feel like much of anything. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating to not be able to get excited about something and to not be able to connect to your partner and to not let yourself feel guilty about those things. Then you realize you can't feel anything at all.
Yeah.
And you go into the autopilot.
The autopilot. Yeah, that's honestly, I think that on an average daily basis, I'm like 90% autopilot.
Yeah.
If I have to take time and actively like make myself really think and respond, and I know for a fact that like as we were recording this podcast, I'm dissociating real hard and I'm feeling like incredibly numb compared to just how I was feeling even just yesterday. Yesterday I was actively engaging and I was really like feeling good and just kind of, and then I woke up today and I was like, yeah, well, that good time that I had last night was done. It's over now. It doesn't
like carry with you.
No, not even a little.
I wonder.
It's like that was another person. That was another.
Yeah.
That was another time and place. That wasn't me.
Yeah. We've discussed this too with my memories. I have a terrible time remembering anything. Mm-hmm. And like and with that memory carrying the emotion, like for you, like having this great memory of yesterday, and it's like, cool, that's over, and I feel nothing today.
I've absolutely also been having the same circumstances of getting in what I consider to be enough sleep, and waking up and still being absolutely exhausted. Mm-hmm. I get on average like I get a good amount of sleep, way more so than I used to, because I used to like be like, I can get 4 hours of sleep and I'm fine. I don't need anything more than 4 hours. Oh, you need me to come in after like 2 hours of sleep? That's fine. I can manage. Now, I'm getting like 7-8 hours for the first time basically in my life. And I'm like, nope, I can't get up. Nope, go right back in. Let's get that solid 10. Let's get that solid 10 hours of sleep. That'll be the good stuff.
I think this is especially difficult for people. Okay, well, I don't know if that's fair to say, but when you're an artist or an entrepreneur and you have to create your own energy and get yourself up, and I mean, I think that's why it's so difficult when you have depression as an artist, because you already are going to be hard on yourself on your art, but when you're depressed and you're supposed to be like pushing and pushing your stuff and trying to make that money, it's so difficult. And I've been hard on myself in the past because of like, I just can't reach these goals. I have these ambitions and I just do not have the energy. Now, that's not to say that when you have a good schedule, or a schedule where you just, it's regular, it's routine, that you don't have that's not your own issues. Like, there are plenty of problems that you go through with that. I just think that there's so many different sides to when you're depressed and what kind of life you're leading, how it affects you.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with that. So one of the things that I've also kind of noticed in terms of like when I get those highs, the lighter parts where I feel pretty good about, I'm able to break through the numbness. Like those moments are definitely driven more by the energy of those around me. It does go back a little bit to the extroversion, introversion kind of stuff, where I do feel it could be more difficult for introverts to find some sort of light at the end of the tunnel when the introversion can be so low energy as it is.
Yes. Whereas
the extroversion, it's like jump starting a car sometimes.
You go out with your people.
Yeah, I go out with people and I'm like little energy vampire a little bit and just be like, oh yeah, here I can feed off of this and I can that tastes like good stuff. I could be good for I could be good for this evening out. Let's be good.
That's a good point, and we've kind of discussed it before, but it's true. As an introvert, when I go out and I'm numb and I'm depressed, it exhausts me, and I'm noticing it because I told you I'm kind of in one right now. Where like yesterday I had gone out. What had I done? I can't even remember. This is my memory. It's gone. But I had done something. Like I'd gone out to the grocery store or something, and then I went to go visit somebody, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to go?" Like, it was opposite. I went out to the movies. And then I went to visit a friend. And then they were like, hey, let's go to the grocery store because we can, like, bake, which I love yummy things. But the idea of leaving this house that I was like, but I've already gone out once today. I don't have the energy to go out again. Although I do find that if I do the thing, oftentimes I will, if it's not totally draining, like going to an amusement park, I do feel good about having done it.
Sure. Yeah, I can
so
agree
it's
with
not
that.
totally draining. But it's kind of scary, and I wonder if sometimes that's why some people stay home and drink, because at least it makes you feel something.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the reasons that I used to stay home and drink.
Let me feel alive.
So how can we help these feelings? Like what are the ultimate like best things that we could really be doing to make ourselves better? I mean, I definitely think that breaking routine can be a huge power for good in terms of breaking through the monotony and the numbness that comes with that monotony.
That's been one of the magic things about this podcast for me is our adventure episodes where we go and we try something to jumpstart ourselves out of our depression. And just doing something different that I wouldn't have done ever on my own.
We should schedule another float tank.
We should. Yay, float tank.
For me, the thing I try to do every day, like, this is just something I've been trying to practice for the better part of 2 years, and it's kept me from falling deeper and deeper into depression, but it's definitely little variations. I can't do the same thing every day without minute variations. Like, I never drive the same route to work.
I always drive the same route to work because it stresses me out and uses energy if I do. That's exactly
the thing. Because routine is such a like kind of almost double-edged sword at times, in that it can be comforting and it can be rewarding because you know the route, you know everything. You'll go and you'll see maybe something different on your routine. Routine route.
Picking and choosing what it is that you change up.
Exactly. But I need that variation, that ability to go, okay, that route is another good route. I can take that route instead of that one. Or, I'll memorize like 3 or 4 different ways to get to one place.
I think that's a fantastic thing. I have anxiety with time and time management, and the idea of going in a different route that could change or alter the time that I arrive, it just is a negative thing for me. So for me, what I would change up is maybe like where I eat. Yeah. Or what I do after work.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more on that one also. Like, there's some days where I have a thing that I've planned to do, and I always do, on a Monday or so. And some nights I'm just like, no, can't do that tonight. That's I gotta take some time and work on my shit.
I think this is where therapy also comes in, is because it helps you get to know yourself. Getting to know yourself, which is such a weird concept, but getting to know the things that actually make you happy versus what you think make you happy. And trying to, because when you're disassociating and you're numb from yourself, at least you have the knowledge of the things that can make you happy or that would jumpstart something. And so you can act as though you're a parent to yourself. And that might be a weird concept, but it's kind of true. You're like, okay, now my robot brain is taking over. So now we are going to just do this thing for this person.
There's a kind of an elephant in the room when it comes to numbness also. And it's something we didn't even write on the list, but it's something that we haven't really touched on either. Oh. Self-harm.
Oh, yeah.
And that is something that when you're feeling that numbness, that can be a compulsion, that can be something that you feel very strongly as the direction, something that'll bring you out of it, something that'll make you feel anything.
Yes, I think first the self-harm aspect of it, there's either the punishment of yourself, like, how dare I feel numb, I'm going to hurt myself, and then what you said, the trying to feel anything at all. Or just toxic behaviors to yourself. For example, something that I do is I will actively destroy something about myself. Something on a lighter note would be my bangs. I had perfectly fine bangs that were growing out and they needed a trim. And I was like, well, I'm going to take my time with them and make them pretty. And then one day I got overwhelmed and I was like kind of numb and depressed, but I was having this overwhelmed, like I felt like a bottle of soda shooken up, and I went to the bathroom and I chopped them off. And I mean, just like brutally. I looked like, well, how anybody looks when they've chopped off their bangs far too short. And then of course you feel hideous and ugly. But like that kind of compulsion to just go in and do something to your body.
Something to change it.
To change the thing. And I know that that's like a silly example, but it is something that I've done.
I mean, ultimately, though, it for understanding self-harm in any capacity, it comes from that place kind of a little bit of self-hatred, perhaps. Not even self-hatred that you've given to yourself, but self-hatred that's been put on you.
That you've ingested.
That you feel like, oh, this person hates me, therefore I should hate me too.
Yeah.
And external sources of that, it can be devastating, to say the least.
Yeah. Listen, if you're going to torture yourself by, like, exercising.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I hate myself, I'm going to do push-ups. Burns. So there's this list I looked up. It's on betterhelp.com. And they were saying things that you can do to help yourself when you're numb. And I don't know if I agree with all of these. Do you want me to read some of them?
It's a list. Yeah, we can definitely
Just a few. It's so it says, wake up and stretch your body.
I mean, I do that anyway.
I don't. Meditate for 10 minutes. I have if you are new to meditation, sitting there and letting your mind kind of wander and breathing, like 10 minutes is a long time. So maybe, find somewhere in between.
I can only do guided meditations anymore.
Same.
Like I can't do just like by myself. I'm not there yet.
Pray, show your gratitude, and say something positive affirmations. If you aren't religious, I think thinking of things that you are grateful for is not a bad thing. Like, practicing gratitude is definitely something that can help anybody, whether you're depressed or not.
Sure, you don't have to have a higher power to show gratitude.
Take an amazing warm shower while using aromatherapy body wash and shampoo. I'm all about aromatherapy.
I can get down with some aromatherapy. I like my shampoos to smell good.
I am thinking also we should do an aromatherapy experiment. Listen, I don't think any of these are going to jumpstart you out of your numbness, but like this is listen to uplifting music. I like to listen to sad music because I want to feel something.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, adjust it to who you are.
I was gonna say, ironically enough, if I listen to like upbeat music, I feel more exhausted.
It's exhausting. It's like calming for me to listen to sad and melodic things.
I'll listen to power metal if I want to feel something at that point.
Basically, I'm reading through this list. It's just like, eat well, listen to good things, fill your life with good things, take a warm bath at the end, read before bed, go to bed at a decent time. I think the idea is start really, really hyper-focusing on taking care of yourself. And something I would like to add to that is start being aware of the people in your life, because there are people in your life that you probably are not aware when you're numb a lot that are toxic.
Yeah.
And it is a good time when you are numb to start thinking about who you can cut out without the emotional depths that you could go into or intensity, because honestly, forget about it. Like, there are so many good people in this world to have in your life who will care about you and will help you. Without the people I have in my life right now, I don't know who I would be. And I was very alone for a long time, and it did take time to like figure out, and heartbreak, to figure out who to keep in and who to not. And but you just have to. Especially when you have depression, you've got to, because you need that support when you're kind of falling apart, man. You
absolutely do.
So take care of yourself.
Yeah, take care of yourself, take care of your body, take care of your mind.
And you will get through it. I mean, that's the other thing, is like it will come to an end, they tell us.
And even if it doesn't end, if it's something that you live with,
yeah,
you can manage, because with good luck, at least a little bit, and hope, you can find something more out there, something that helps you achieve that which you want, be who you want, do what you want, and surround yourself with the people you want.
Every day is a new day.
Yeah.
Watch some Fred Rogers.
Yeah. As for us, follow us on Instagram at HAYHU Podcast, like the Facebook page, check out the subreddit, and if you want to send us something directly, go ahead and email mailbag@HowAreYouHoldingUp.com.
Thank you guys for all your messages. We are kind of compiling them, and we're going to do an episode from your questions and concerns and thoughts.
Yeah, and we're also going to have another special guest episode in a couple weeks. So stay tuned for that. That one's going to be a really good one, guys. We're really excited for it.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for listening. And as always,
don't tell us to just get over it.